Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sunday Speaks. I, as always, am Cheyenne Severin, and today I'm here with.
Kim Swiney-McBride.
So Kim, to start off today, do you just want to start by telling me like some of your recovery story, or?
Yes. Well, actually, my name is Kim Swiney-McBride, and my sobriety date, if it's within God's will, October the 12th, I will be celebrating 14 years of recovery. So, my journey started a very long time ago. In all honesty, actually, at the age of 11, I picked up my first drink, and I really didn't put it down until I came into recovery at the age of 41. I blamed a lot of, I did it because of this. I did it because this happened. I did it because I was sexually abused. I did it because my brother burnt up in a fire. My children fire. I had so many reasons of why I drank as well as drugs for so many years. There was always an excuse why. But it wasn't until I got into recovery that I learned that even though those things did happen and it affected me, I also have to remember that what happened in 1977, I still can't drink and drug over in 2023 because there is a better way. You know what I'm saying? I have been rebooted, refreshed. If your computer go down, what do? You turn it off and you try to reboot it, so that it can work for you. You refresh it. Well, as a person in active addiction, I needed that reboot. I needed that refresh, because I didn't know how to live. My world was just dark, dark, and darker. And at the end, I felt like I was at the point of no return. There was no way of me escaping what my life had became. There was never going to be a change in my life. This is what my life was going to be. This is what I had amount to. And this was going to be the way I was going to die. But it wasn't until many years later, after several times of going to jail and being in alternative programs, that the very last time that I was incarcerated was the time. I was a participant. I was a drug court participant. And for whatever reason, at the end of, my drug court sentence, it no longer became about me pleasing a judge or I have to get a clean urine because I'm going to get arrested for my probation officer. It became, this is my life because everybody gets to go home. What am I going to do with my life? So, although it was really, really dark, the light had begun to shine, and then it shined a little more, but that didn't happen until I came into recovery. And there were so many women as well as men that helped me stand on my 2 feet when I thought, well, this happened. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through, the death of my mom? Like so many things were still happening because it was life on life terms. Things that I never, that was happening even when I was using, I just was never a part of anything. So, people helped me up and they guided me and they directed me and they gave me suggestions. And because I was really, really, really tired and so broken, when I was at the point of no return, I had nothing else to lose. I had lost my children many years ago. Like I lost my self-esteem. I always thought I was worthless. I always thought that I wasn't going to never amount to anything. And of course, people titled me as that. You're a crackhead. You're a heroin addict. You're a dope thing. You're this. So I started believe those lies because today I know they were lies. I started believing that, and it wasn't until I didn't no longer have to believe that people showed me that there was a different way to live, a new way of life. And when I began to embrace that, then my light began to shine. Mm-hmm.
So, with all that being said, congratulations almost on the 14 years, not to get ahead of ourselves, but that's a really big accomplishment. But so you ended up working for the recovery house that you began to stay at, would it be?
Yes, so I became a participant of drug court, and I was from Essex County, from Newark. However, when I was arrested, they put me on drug court. I went to Sunrise House in Lafayette, And then after Sunrise House, they took me to Spring House, the halfway house for Paramus. I mean, for women in Paramus. And when I went there, is I'm gonna honestly say is when my journey really began. You know, I heard things they were saying in Sunrise House, but I didn't hear it type thing. But when I went to that halfway house for women in Paramus, called Spring House, it was a halfway house. It's a halfway house for women, ran by women. Oh my God, I can't even imagine, or fathom how to tell you the love that comes out of that building and the love that goes in that building. So I was a drug court participant there. And, it's funny because they really taught me responsibility, being a woman of honor and dignity. I learned things as simple as making a bed. You know what I'm saying? Just how to live everyday life. Now, that house also made sure that I put my recovery first and foremost. They made sure that I made a meeting, you know what I'm saying, every day. They took care of those things. They took care of all the things for me so that all I needed to do was worry about working on my insides. Everything else they were gonna continue to love me until I love myself. So yes, I went there and I stayed there for a year and I graduated, I completed, and then I completed drug court. But all the time I was there, when I was getting towards the end of my stay, they kept saying, you would be a good candidate to work here. You would be a good candidate to work here. I never believed it. But once I graduated drug court, I had a passion I seen how so many people helped me there in that house. So I wanted to do what they were doing, and I wanted to give back the help like they gave to me. So I applied and I got hired there. So now today I have the honor and privilege of working for that house almost 10 years later.
So, what's that like? I mean, in terms of like, how does that feel? Or even like, what's your favorite thing to do there? Things like that.
My favorite thing is when I watch the women come in, because we all come in broken, right? We start with that one day. Everybody has to start with one day. My favorite thing is to watch when they come in, but the most beautiful thing is to watch them when they leave. And I like to say they come in as moths and they leave as beautiful butterflies. And that is it's such a beautiful thing to watch somebody prosper into something so beautiful and their life change, just like myself, and you go back to school and you graduate high school and you end up going to college. Like, it's such an awesome thing to watch a person's life turn around like that. And that's the best part of it for me. There's a lot of good things, but that's the best thing I like. I like to see when they come in and the way they leave.
Mm-hmm. What kind of like treatment methods do you guys have there, if any? Like, what kind of approach do you guys take to sober living?
Well, I'm just going to say this. It's all about working on the insides. Mm-hmm. People suffer a lot of trauma. I suffered a lot of trauma, and I like to say that Spring House helps people turn their traumas into triumphs. It's all work. It's inside based. You're definitely gonna, you're gonna do recovery, because anything you put before your recovery, you'll lose. So you have to learn how to also live a productive life. Once you leave there, you're going to need to know how to live a life in recovery and maintain sobriety. So, we teach those things. We AA based. We make meetings, and you know what I'm saying? You have to maintain, you have to, get sponsors and networks and all the things that come with recovery. You're going to get that. You're going to build that foundation there before you leave there, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you still get to work on your insides, because it's an inside job. It has to start with your insides and your way of thinking, and that's what we like to offer. We like to help you get to that point.
So you've also learned, like, personally being there for a while, like, just how to handle your own experiences that you've gone through in life.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of work on There was a lot of trauma because I grew, growing up, I experienced a lot of trauma. And, because it was never talked about, I grew up in a household, things happen, they happen. You deal with it. You strong, you get through it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of things that maybe a 10-year-old shouldn't have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they should have someone to help them to process it. I didn't grow up in that type of family. Everything was you got to be strong, you got to be strong, you got to be strong. And I mean, honestly, today, some of that has its perks, but then it didn't growing up because that's how I believe that I picked up my first drink because I wanted to try to get rid of all of that stuff that was going on inside. It didn't go anyplace. It only got worse because my disease only progressed. But, as a child, 10 years old, you experience being in a fire, your brother burning up. These are things, or being molested. These are things that you look for a parent to protect you from, or either make sure that you get the help you need. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. It didn't happen with me. And although my mother was good, she did the best she could with what she had. There was a lot of things that a child, shouldn't have been exposed to, or a child should have been able to go to somebody and talk about, maybe a therapist or whatever. Well, how do you feel about this? I didn't get those things, so it caused me to just keep stuffing. So I learned how to just let things happen to me and don't deal with it. Don't talk about it. Just, stuff it and leave it there. Well, when I got to Springhouse, I learned that it was okay for me to release those things. It was okay for me to talk about it. It was okay for me to process it. So it was like peeling back the onion, and I really had to break down my whole house, the whole foundation, and rebuild myself brick by brick, because it was so much that I was holding on to that I never even thought that I would even have to ever mention again. Things that I said, oh no, that's secret. I'm definitely never going to tell anybody about that. Those were the things that needed to be told, and I learned how to do that there. But they made it safe. I was always told this is a safe place. You can do it here. No harm will come to you. Because, I grew up like, oh, if you tell, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. Or if you tell this parent going to be mad at you, or that parent going to be mad at you, or your mother going to be mad. Don't tell your mother that somebody, her friend was molesting you. She's going to be mad at you. No, I'm allowed to tell her this is what was happening to me. And I feel like I didn't get protected. It wasn't until I got there that I knew that it was okay for me to talk about those things.
Mm-hmm. So you do like speaking events and everything, right? Is that a place where you talk about these things? Like, are you at a point where it's like you share these things for like the betterment of others too, or do different topics come up at speaking events?
Well, I don't speak at Springhouse. I'm actually recovery assistant / CADC intern, so I don't share my story.
Mm-hmm.
As of yet. I just got promoted to peer recovery specialist. So part of that criteria is if I need to share a little something to help others, I would be allowed to. But as of yet, I don't. But I do give like experiences that can show the women of my identification. So you're not alone type identification. Certain things you can allow for a person. No, you are definitely not alone. I noticed that over the years, when people see that there's people out here that can identify with all of the hurt and the harms that happen to them, it allows for them to open up to you more, So, but I do get to talk to the women a lot. I do talk to them a lot. I'm first and foremost, I'm always, talking about the importance of recovery and the importance of, service. Do service. You have to do service while you're here. So I'm always signing people up for speaking commitments, or I need you to be a booker and get people to come, like little things that will help them focus on what's to come in their recovery when they leave there. Because right now the house, it becomes a safe blanket because, but when you leave there, you have to learn how to live a life outside of there, a productive life,
You said that you earlier when we were talking off camera, you said that you had spoken at the Bergen New Bridge event on Friday, was it?
Yes, so that was the first time ever a staff member got to speak at Light the Night. It's normally alumni, but I am also alumni of Springhouse because I graduated from here, so I am a part of the alumni association. However, it was an honor and a privilege for me to be able to speak. So I was able to speak in front of the girls, about the darkness, living in that darkness and at the point of no return, and how you can surrender and just turn your life totally around if you do the work. It does take work. One day at a time, things are going to happen, but it's durable. I liked it to explain that if I can do it, I know they can do it too, because it doesn't stop at one person. This thing is free for the taking for anyone who wants it. Recovery is not for a person who needs it. It's for a person who wants it. Because when you begin to want it, you appreciate the work you do more. Mm-hmm. If I felt like I needed it when the judge was making me do it, I wanted to put up a fight. Oh, I got to do this for the judge. I got to do this for this one. Why are they making me do this? It was always a fight or a question, But when I began to want it, my eyes started opening up more and more of seeing, the beauty and the gift that this really is, because it's really the gift that keeps on giving. This gift is never ending. As long as I stay sober, one day at a time, the gift will keep on giving. It's not to say that things are not going to happen. Life on life terms is going to happen. I have no control over things that I'm powerless over. However, as long as I'm not drinking and drugging, I also have control of what I want my end story to be. I like this right here. Being on here with you guys, alumni in recovery. You know what I'm saying? I spoke for Light the Night at Springhouse Friday, which was awesome. I also do, I do alumni association. I'm I'm on the committee of Shades of Recovery Inc. Like I was explaining to you, that's that's a committee of women who does affordable one-day retreats, weekend retreats, spiritual luncheons. I'm also involved in my sister. My sister is a founder of Pop Journey, the Pursuit of Purpose Journey, which is a women's support group, and it's women empower women. I'm active in a lot of these things because it's just it's an awesome feeling to be able to be a part of something. I never was a part of nothing, and nobody wanted me to be a part of that when I was drinking and drugging. Today, I get to do these things, and the getting is really good. It really, really is. When you can look back and see all the things that you can accomplish in sobriety, if it's just going on the speaking commitment, if it's just showing up on this panel, like I get to do this today, and when me and you are off here, I'm going to really feel good about what I did today. Because I did something to participate in my recovery. That's an awesome feeling. This is the gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. That being said, we have about 2 minutes left. Do you have any last comments, questions, or concerns before we end off today?
Well, I want to say thank you, Cheyenne. You is absolutely delightful. I love the way you do this. I really, really do. So I want to thank you. And of course, I want to thank my beautiful, wonderful sister, Nancy LeBeau. I would like to thank her because she's always giving me opportunities to do more and better. So I want to thank her. Of course, I'm going to thank all of my sober women and my sober men that keeps me sober one day at a time. My family who continuously supports me, and, just for anybody who's listening that may be here for one day. Just one day at a time. Nobody got recovery. We're coming in with 14 years. We had to start one day at a time. And some days you might have to just do it 1 minute. But whatever you do, no matter what, join the No Matter What Club. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep pushing through, and trust and believe your darkness will also turn into light.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Mm-hmm. Have a nice day.